Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for attending my session. So we are at the end of the day. This is the last session. My name is Amit Rustagi, and I'm an architect at eBay responsible for the architecture of the web analytics and experimentation platform. During this session, I will be providing some insights into the eBay analytics apps, which have helped eBay to become a data-driven organization by mining massive amount of data. Taking a look at the agenda, we'll talk about eBay, what is eBay, what the big data looks like. I will provide an insight into analytics at eBay, and then finally we will look at why did we choose Hadoop, and what's the Hadoop platform looks like at eBay. $67 billion in merchandising sold in 2012, whooping $67 billion in gross merchandising. eBay Marketplaces is the largest online marketplace where practically anyone can trade anything at any time. Of course, there are some restrictions for the things you can trade, you can sell, or you can buy. This slide will give you an idea of what some of the big data looks like at eBay. We have 102 million plus active buyers and sellers at eBay, 300 million plus items in 50,000 categories, 3 billion plus page views every day, and we have 300 million plus queries every day through our search engine. eBay is at an inflection point. So this is a slide from several years ago in 2008 when the e-commerce market was just a $325 billion market. For eBay, it's a huge opportunity. They're taking the E out of the commerce. So what has changed in the last few years, this whole e-commerce market, which used to be kind of like very segregated, online versus offline, the offline market is continuously influenced by the online behavior. And it was predicted that by 2013, the $325 billion market will become or explode to $10 trillion market where we are right now. And eBay is in the right position. eBay is at its inflection point where they want to use all their data assets to become successful in a $10 trillion market. It's all about data. Lots of data. Yes, I'm talking about big data at eBay. eBay sources lots of data from a variety of different sources. For example, we get the data for the buyers, all the users who are coming to eBay for buying several items, the data about the sellers, all the users who come to eBay to sell their items, the user history. When the users, they come to eBay to buy or sell anything, there's a history involved. You bid on certain item. You lose a bid. You commit a purchase. Everything is the user history. And we do keep track of all the user activity. Looking at the clicks, every time a user go to any eBay page, they are searching on an item, generating the search logs, clicking on the item, generating clicks. All the items they are looking at, all the item inventory we have, all the feedback scores that are left for the sellers, all the data that is crawled from all the competitor site to gain the competitive intelligence, all the images that have been shown in the past and that are present for all the items which are currently active on the site, and including how the items are performing, how the various campaigns are performing. We get the variety of the data. And eBay, we use all the efficient mining techniques. It's a game of science, art, and scale to convert all this data into valuable insights. So as we saw that, we have variety of the data sources, and eBay is at the e-commerce market, which is continuously changing for last several years. Analytics applications at eBay has got a very unique position. As I said in the previous slide, it's a goal for us. So what are some of the requirements actually for these analytical apps? The very basic requirements are in terms of the scalability, which could be increasing the number of users, increasing the number of transactions, increasing the number of items that will be listed on the site. How do I support a suite of analytical applications or an ecosystem where as the traffic increases or the volume increases on all my eBay applications, I still support the same level of insights? Flexibility. Business is continuously changing. Business has become sophisticated. As I said, online versus offline, which used to be very clearly distinct markets a few years ago, is not a distinct market right now. So there's a continuous correlation companies need to do around how the online business is continuously influencing the offline purchases. So to accommodate all these continuous business requirements, analytics application needs to be flexible enough. And besides all these things, applications need to be cost effective. With all these massive data sets, massive processing, I should be able to maintain all my analytical system with not too much of cost. So let's look at what the analytics applications lifecycle looks like at eBay. For every business problem, it always starts with defining the goals. How we are going to measure the success? Somebody defines the KPIs, and then finally the things or the features get implemented into an eBay application. We test it with certain variations using the experimentation platform. And along with the experimentation platform, we have another platform which we call personalization. So the personalization system is another system which is also driven by the data, users' current activity, and users' past activity, as well as some prediction about the user behavior. And we will go in details, basically, how we have used analytical apps in context of the personalization. So you test multiple of these variations at the same time. You collect data. You do the experiment analysis for the lift calculation. Which version is performing and should be pushed to production versus which should be stopped immediately. And some basic analytics. How many transactions in last 1 hour? How many transactions or how many purchases within the last 1 day? Some very basic metrics. How many sessions? How many purchases per session? All those are web analytics. Finally, you look at, someone is looking at all these numbers, looking and comparing with the goals, trying to match, and based on, again, feeding it back into the system. So this is a cyclic environment where the data, the insights from the data, is continuously feeding into the eBay applications. And as we learn more and more over a period of time, we improve the user experience and overall business metrics. So at this point, we saw that these are the kind of applications we need to build. We are clear about the goals. And we decided on that, yes, we want to use Hadoop. But why Hadoop? The three goals I talked about previously, the goal about the scalability, flexibility, and effectiveness or efficiency. Using Hadoop, we are able to scale our existing systems just by adding a few nodes. And by doing all the processing locally on our data nodes, we are avoiding all the network traffics. We are able to address the goal for the flexibility where the business is continuously changing because I am able to ingest all kind of data onto my Hadoop cluster, whether it's a blob, document, or record, images, or in all sort of forms, whether it's a structured, semi-structured, or unstructured data. I can store anything, anytime, and go back and come back later for the analysis when I really need it. In terms of the cost efficiency of running this whole analytics on a Hadoop cluster comes around less than $1,000 per terabytes on a set of commodity hardware. We have the unified storage metadata as well as the security rules, which all these comes handy and reduces the overall operational cost of running these systems. So going back in a brief history of time, how the culture of Hadoop evolved at eBay. Back in 2007, it just started with a single-digit nodes. In 2009, that was the first cluster which started with the tens of nodes. In 2010, we moved to hundreds of nodes, petabyte of data, and we were using CDH2. In 2011, as well as 2012, we still had the shared clusters, thousands of nodes, tens of petabytes, and we were hosting multiple analytics applications on these Hadoop clusters. In 2013, we moved to one of the largest Hadoop cluster in the big data environment, which consisting of like 4,000 plus nodes and 40,000 cores with 50s of petabytes, considered to be one of the large Hadoop clusters or largest Hadoop deployments. So looking at what the Hadoop platform at eBay looks like, at the SDFS level, we ingest several sources of data. We ingest the behavioral data, which is about the click, the page views, the search logs. We ingest the transactional data, all the user activity, all the items, the bids, the listings, and also the inventory, all the items that are listed on eBay. We have created a meta layer. Meta layer contains the meta store, and we have a type systems as we ingest. So we need to take care of the types from all the inbound sources as well as to the outbound data. There is a data ingest layer which is responsible for extract, load, transform, and validation of all the data that is ingested onto the layer. The data access layer, the variety of interfaces supported. We support Java POJOs. We have Hive UDFs, and we also have the big user-defined functions. The various clients that are supported on the existing Hadoop clusters are Java, Pig, Mobius, Scala, Hive, as well as cascading. And we have the data catalog, ETL monitor, the meta management, as well as the user management, the tools for monitoring and maintenance of this Hadoop cluster. Looking at the analytics ecosystem at eBay, Analytic systems at eBay has got several distinct components. We have variety of sources, which could be all about the structured, unstructured, or semi-structured data. We have Hadoop, the 4,000 plus node cluster. We have the data warehouse, and we have the advanced analytics layer where we are using Hive, as well as we are using off-the-shelf reporting tools like MicroStrategy as well as Tableau. So all these sources, they are ingested onto Hadoop for collected, aggregated, and cleansed into the Hadoop storage layer. We do certain meaningful transformation, do some machine learning at Hadoop. And once the meaningful data set is produced onto the Hadoop, we export it to the data warehouse, which could be Oracle or Teradata or some other technology. And also, we are also importing some of the data sets which are produced outside of Hadoop, and we brought it or ingest it on the Hadoop layer so that when the machine learning processes, they are running onto the Hadoop, we do leverage those data sets. And with all these meaningful data sets, all the variety or distinct data sources available at a single place on Hadoop, we are able to do very advanced analytics in terms of user retention, the predictive analytics for the user's personalization, lift calculation, etc. So let's look at how we are using Hadoop for the web analytics use case. For all the web activity that's happening, we do collect web logs, and finally we sessionize the data. So finally, we ingest all the session data onto the Hadoop layer. For all these sessions, there is an event activity that happened into those sessions. And those event activities around the clicks, some mouse movements, and those events could be around the server-side events or could be the client-side events. So this is another area where we are leveraging Hadoop. What we run a process, what it does is the enriched event enrichment. It takes all the server-side events, it takes all the client-side events, which are part of the same process, and then it gives me a unified picture. It gives me a set of enriched events which were part of the one session. And then I take all those sessions, enriched event, run my MapReduce jobs, or a pick job for the ad hoc matrix, or to generate a standard set of matrix, we run several stages of the MapReduce to generate standard behavioral matrix like page views, session, purchases per session, user retention, etc. And then finally, all those gets loaded into a relational database where we can connect some reporting tool onto it and then use it as a dashboard for the quick viewing of these metrics. Using Hadoop for the personalization. So personalization is a very interesting topic at eBay. Whenever a user comes at eBay, we want their experience to be personalized. That personalized experience could be related to some of their activity. For example, you go to certain page, you view a certain set of items. So we want to do a instant merchandising, or what we call instant recommendation based on the items you are viewing right now. And also, if you happen to be a logged in user, we want to fetch some of your previous history and also take all that in a consideration and throw a set of links that these are the certain set of items you could be interested in based on your past purchases. or also based on the predictive analytics. So how does all that work actually? So from the eBay side, the moment you start interacting with the eBay, we have a personalization platform behind eBay, which is a database, not Hadoop. So all the data starts going into the personalization data, the database in the real time. From that point onward, what we have is two set of jobs. One does the PDS or the personalization data service import, and one does the personalization data service export. All the data that's been captured from the site in the real time, we take all the data, put into files in a temporary location, from where using a file transfer mechanism, it is ingested into the Hadoop, run all the machine translation, and do a scoring, do a statistical analysis, and feed back into the personalization system via the import process. So here, we are using Hadoop in a big way. We take all the user input in the real time. We are running all this off, or the batch processing, the machine learning as an offline process, and then feeding back into the personalization platform. And as and when the user comes back, we target with all the models, all the predictive analytics that was done in the Hadoop, and then we expose it via the website. So this is a pretty powerful use case. Similarly, for the experimentation platform, all the data we collect for the several the variations which we are testing, the lift calculation, what's the impact on the user activity? Are we seeing the less number of views, less number of clicks, more views? Is there an impact on the gross purchase, what we call the gross merchandising value? What is the impact on that? We take all that into consideration, come up with a final recommendation that this experiment is successful or a failure. All that analysis, all that lift calculation happens inside the Hadoop. So web analytics, personalization, experimentation, all these are very powerful analytics application at eBay, which are core of our analytics platform, and highly rely on Hadoop's massive processing capabilities. So some of the things which we'll like to do in our analytics platform in the future will be around the real-time analytics, which is around the stream processing, or maybe an interactive analysis, something like Apache Drill, where the users can have an interactive query response within a matter of seconds on a massive amount of data, which is all stored onto Hadoop. So that's our vision about the analytics for the future. And with that, I will open the floor for the questions. Yes? Not in the analytics. Not in the analytics. Yes, we do use NoSQL, but not in analytics. Means NoSQL databases are the source of information that are ingested into the analytics platform. Yes? Mm-hmm. Yes. So when we ingest the data into Hadoop, we do certain data validations. We want to ensure that all the analytics, all the predictive modeling that's happening, we want to filter out all the outliers, because as for we are doing all the experiment analysis, all the personalization, everything is happening on the same platform. And in certain cases, we do leverage the processing of the same data set. So we want to ensure that we are working on the very quality data set, and we want to ensure that some of the basic characteristics of the data is not distorted. So that's where we do a certain set of validations when we ingest the data into Hadoop. Yes. So right now in the diagram, we are using R, so R on Hadoop, and then basically it's all in-house. Yes.
Do you have a return on investment picture of this one?
No, there is no return of investment picture, and even if there is one, I won't be able to share it. There are certain things actually which we are allowed to share in public, and return of investment or our analytics investment is definitely something which can't be shared in public.